true. Nervous. Very, very dreadfully nervous. I had been and am. But why will you say that I am mad? The disease had sharpened my senses. Not destroyed, not dulled them. Above all was the sense of hearing acute. I heard all things in heaven and in the earth. I heard many things in hell. How then am I mad? Hearken and observe how healthily, how calmly I can tell you the whole story. It is impossible to say how fast the idea entered my brain. But once conceived, it haunted me day and night, day and night. Object, there was none. Passion, there was none. I loved the old man. He had never wronged me. He had never given me insult. I think it was his eye. Yes, it was this. One of his eyes resembled that of a vulture. Pale blue eye with a film over it. Whenever its gaze fell upon me, my blood ran cold. My hair grew back and provoked an utter state of mind, with an utter depression of soul, which I can compare to no earthly sensation more properly than to an iciness, sinking, sickening of the heart. And so, by degrees, very gradually, I made up my mind to take action, ostracize the evil. Oh, but you should have seen me. You should have seen how wisely I proceeded. I was never kinder to the old man than during the whole week before I killed him. Now this is the point. You fancy me mad. But madmen know nothing. I moved slowly. Very, very slowly. So that I might not disturb the old man's sleep. cautiously that a single thin ray fell upon the vulture's eye. And this I did for 7 long nights. Every night, just at midnight, I looked in upon him while he slept. What a madman who'd been so wise as this. But I found the eye almost closed, so it was impossible to do the work. For it was not the old man who vexed me, but his evil eye.
Who's there? Who's there?
I didn't move a muscle, nor did I hear him lie down. He was still sitting up in bed, listening. When I had waited a long time, very patiently, I resolved to open a very, very little crevice in the lantern, until at length a single dim ray fell upon the vulture eye. It was open, wide open, and I grew furious as I gazed upon it. And now, have I not told you that what you mistake for madness is but over-acuteness of the senses? Now there came to my ears a low, dull, quick sound. Oh, I knew that sound well. It was the beating of the old man's heart. But even yet, I refrained and kept still. I scarcely breathed. Meantime, the hellish tattoo of the heart increased. It grew quicker and quicker, louder and louder every instant. The young man's terror must have been extreme.
But the beating grew louder, louder. I say louder every moment.
Old man's hour had come. There came a knocking at the street door. There entered 3 men who introduced themselves with perfect suavity as officers of the police. A shriek had been heard by a neighbour during the night. I smile. For what had I to fear? The shriek, I said, was my own in a dream. I took my visitors all over the house. I bade them search. Search well. But ere long, I wished them gone. I felt myself getting pale, and I fancied a ringing in my ears. My head ached, yet the ringing became more distinct. It continued and became more distinct, until, at length, I found that the noise was not within my ears. No doubt, I now grew very pale. Yet the sound increased. Oh, what could I do?
Who is there?
I gasped for breath, and yet the officers saw and heard it not. I talked more quickly, more vehemently, but the noise steadily increased. Oh God, what could I do? I foamed, I raved, I swore. It grew louder, louder, louder. Almighty God! No, no! They heard! They knew! They were making a mockery of my horror! I could bear those hypocritical smiles no longer. I felt that I must scream or die. Scream or die! And now, again! Ah, louder! 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 Louder!
Dissemble no more. I admit the deed. Tear up the planks. Here! Here! It is the beating of his hideous heart.